I'm here with Marty and his lovely daughter, Honey. Marty, what do you think of that game today? I mean, speaking to some of the other guys, they're not that impressed, which I guess is understandable, but 1-1 draw at home, 3 days before the biggest game in years. How do you, what do you think?
We don't need you being...
Look, I mean, if I'm honest with you, there were for me some really impressive parts of that game. Really impressive. And
Oh, that's good, because now we got somebody positive, yeah.
yeah,
Tell the
but
people.
I say that. But no, listen, the most impressive parts, and there's two things that me and you need to have a serious conversation about. Yeah. And those two things are Declan Rice. Mate, that, as Julian said, lung-busting run. He will take it past your attackers, your midfield, your defence, and just lay the ball off casually for Thomas Partey to rifle that home in the top corner.
It's a great goal.
Mate, do you know what? With Declan Rice, when he came to the club, it was like he was free playing, and he was absolutely fantastic. And then he went through this period. He had an injury, this broken toe, and then it was like, for me, the pressure of Arsenal Football Club might have got to him a little bit, the magnitude of this job and this role. And then what I've seen in that player is he has got his head down in the training ground, and now that he is really, really coming to fruition. Like that run today, he split that team apart. Like just, that is unplayable. Completely unplayable. And then we go on to this, the second part of what I want to say is potentially, listen, this is nothing against our captain, but I think for me, Declan Rice is the guy. If he keeps performing like this, he needs to be the captain of the club. And that's nothing against Martin Odegaard, because I think personally that maybe the captaincy is what's weighing him down. The pressure, he's got himself in a situation now where I don't know whether it's... Listen, this is a player that I have seen do absolutely amazing things on a football pitch that are simply quite not possible. And the skill that he possesses is phenomenal. Now, for some reason, he is not free-flowing, he is not playing, he is not scoring goals, and he is not that player, whether it's because he's had a child recently, whether there's something going off the pitch, or whether it's the captaincy, I don't know. But there is a serious player in Martin Odegaard that needs to be unlocked. And if moving the captaincy to Declan Rice is going to free him up, listen, and again, with Martin Odegaard, people have been bandied around that we should sell him. I don't believe that. I really believe in that player, and I believe that changing something around, he will be that world beater, and he will go on to be this phenomenal player, but there's just something quite not right. But then you talk about Miles Lewis-Skelly. Now, for a game like today, you are resting Miles Lewis-Skelly and Mikel Merino. Yeah, that is how far those two players have come in this season. Mikel Merino, and when we bought him a few games in and he had that injury and everyone was rubbishing him, let's sell him, he's useless, what does he do? He's a 6, he's an 8, and all of that. Well, he's actually a 6, an 8 and a 9. And to be rested for the game on Wednesday shows how important he is. Then Miles Lewis-Skelly, this lad is 18 years old, a young lad who has broken into this team when we bought Riccardo Calafiori for £34 million or 32 from Bologna, as he was going to be our amazing, defensive force. But he's spent unfortunately, most of this season on the treatment table. But Miles Lewis-Skelly has stepped up and delivered to the point where he is now being rested for Real Madrid. And as soon as he comes onto the pitch, he makes an instant impact. And those, again, it's that transitional play that Arsenal have been lacking for me. The players that are going to pick the ball up in those lower areas of the pitch and drive through into the opposition's half. And those players that you can't get the ball off, that they're getting kicked, they're getting pulled, and they just will not get... Miles Lewis-Skelly just does not concede possession. And I love that about him. And when I saw those two things in a game like today, that really roused the crowd. And yet, of course, the game today is hard to get up for because it's Brentford. We're in a bit of no man's land. I think we're 6 points in front of Forest. They lost today. It's a later kick-off, so we kind of know our position. And we're at the moment, we're 10 points behind Liverpool. And if they win tomorrow, then it's going to be 13 points. And I think they've only got to get another 9 points and they win the championship. And I don't like to concede defeat, but it looks unlikely. And listen, we have got bigger fish to fry at the moment, and that is Real Madrid on a Wednesday night. And don't think this game is dead and buried, because this is Real Madrid, okay? You had Barcelona, I remember a few seasons ago, that were 3-0 up against Liverpool, and then they went to Anfield, and Liverpool put them to the sword and ended up beating them on one of probably the best European comebacks I think I've ever seen in my life. and beat them 4-3. And I remember that cheeky corner from Trent Alexander-Arnold. And it's that sort of stuff. You go to the Bernabeu.
You're making me nervous.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen. There's nothing to be nervous about. I think it's just about being realistic about the magnitude of the task ahead. You're going to the Bernabeu. It's 90,000 seats. Yes, we are 3-0 up. Okay, you're 3-0 up, and there's two ways of looking at this game. Either you put a low block in and you shut this game out. You put 11 men behind the ball, and you try and keep hold of possession of the ball and play it around as much as possible, or you go at them and you try and get an early goal.
What would you do?
I mean, listen, there's a lot of me that goes go and get that early goal because that's kind of how I am. But then there's a sensible side of me that says you need to shut it up. Now, if you go and get the goal and you win it, it's a tactical masterstroke. If you then concede by doing that, then it's managerial naivety. So there's all these pros and cons in it. It's how it works out on the night. And the reality of the situation, I think, is for the first 30. Well, I'd say, if I'm honest with you, 60 minutes. If we ain't going to nick a goal, the game needs to be shut out because they will start panicking. And then when Real Madrid start panicking and they start, the game pushes on, they're still 3-0 down and they need to nick a goal, naturally the game will fully open up, and that is where mistakes can happen. And that is where you have seen that players like Declan Rice, Miles Lewis-Skelly can pick that ball up and drive it. And they can be slightly light at the back, the free-flowing football they play. And they will be an easy side in that respect later on in the game to have opportunities to penetrate. I'm not saying it's easy because Real Madrid is not an easy side. Going to the Bernabeu, it's like from Brentford to the Bernabeu. That is two complete and utter polar opposites. You're a Saturday afternoon where you've not got much to play for. It's a bit of a training exercise. It's about keeping the guys ticking over nicely. It's about keeping, some momentum. It's about keeping the game going. And the players coming out with no injuries. And speaking on the injuries, in fact, it was a shame to see Jorginho go on. And don't forget, we played the last, 5 to 10 minutes with 10 men because that was the only thing. Mikel Arteta uses all 5 subs, and you're in a position where you just keep one of them back, and then we can be 11 men. And there were times at that game at the end we could have nicked it. But listen, David Raya again made some fantastic saves and shows why he has nailed this spot down in the team and why he is such an important player. And William Saliba, I was watching that player in front of me today, just thinking, wow, what a player! And I
was thinking the same.
Do you know what? For me, he keeps that back four completely unified. Not saying that Gabriel doesn't, but listen, you're always going to miss Gabriel. He is a fantastic, phenomenal player, and that partnership. But William Saliba today, there were amount of times that he got caught in possession, and this guy just deals with the matter. He deals with it properly. Yeah, there's no messing around. He's just silky smooth. And, and again...
Just quickly, give me a result Wednesday.
Give you a result? Yeah. No, it's down to them to give you a result, mate. No, look, I think... I'd like to say the game goes like this, okay? That we managed to nick a goal. We managed to nick a goal early, and I think if we get that early goal, and I'm not saying go searching, marauding for it and opening ourselves up, because we don't need to do that. Be sensible, get a goal. It's 4-0, and then they're going to panic, and then the game's open. We need to be compact at the back. We need to be sensible. Listen, we could end up winning this 5-0. It could happen. If we get 2 goals there, don't forget, we can go there and beat them. Yeah. Like we just beat them 3-0. That is a possibility. We could go there and stick 4 past them and have an absolute, it would be madness, it'd be chaos. But then they could also score 4 against us. This is Real Madrid. This is their competition, and they are the European champions. It's in their backyard, and it's going to be a dust-up, mate. It is going to be a game of games, and I cannot wait for it.
You frame it very, very well. Well said, mate.
Thank you, man.